Hi everybody, Chris AMS, hope you're all well. Welcome to another video. If you're liking these videos that we're doing, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It's always appreciated. If there's any specific videos you kind of want to see and we can aid in that, then leave us a comment and we'll see if we can make some videos more tailored to your tastes. So for today's job, we have an Audi A4 2-litre diesel in with us. It's coming from another garage. They're struggling to get to the bottom of it, so we said we would help out. The fault with the vehicle is it has an intermittent no start issue and various warning lights and stuff that come up on the dashboard when the fault occurs. So when the vehicle was presented to us, the fault wasn't occurring, it drove here. We've had it in the workshop for a little while trying to get the fault to occur. It's been sat for the last half an hour, and since it's been sat, we've just got back in it and it doesn't start, and you're getting various data warnings on the dashboard, gearbox, ABS lights and various other warnings on the dashboard to indicate a fault. But when you press the button, no start. So we've confirmed that we have an issue with this vehicle. So we're going to get into this and see if we can diagnose what the problem is. Follow along, let's see if we can get to the bottom of it. So we pulled a vehicle systems report. We carried out this test, or this report, before, as we cleared the fault codes down and checked the system and then cleared the fault codes down before we started. And all these ECUs here have faults in them. As you can see, we've got loss of communication. All these are loss of communication with data bus messages. Even more here, central electronic system, loss of communication, adaptive cruise control, airbag systems, instrument cluster, diagnostic gateway module, loss of communication with engine computer. Like I say, we did all these checks and we couldn't get the vehicle into a failed state. So what we did is we cleared these faults down. So we've got a baseline to work from. And as you can see on here, let's go to page 3. We scanned 30 control modules. There's 30 control modules all talking to each other on this vehicle. So once we got the vehicle into a non-running state, we'll show you the scan that we've just taken. Let's zoom in. And I will attempt to save that. We have 29 modules, or 29 systems that have been analysed by the diagnostic computer. We're using the Snap-on Zeus again today. It tends to be our first tool that we reach for and plug in. It's pretty robust, and it does us for most things. No tool is 100% on everything, but yeah, it works well for us. So during this code scan, or the second code scan, once the failed state occurred, we found that we have no comms to the engine management ECU, or it hasn't scanned. The 1 out of 29 that it hasn't scanned, or 1 out of 30 that it hasn't scanned, is the engine computer. So all these faults that saying loss of communication, we've actually proved that there is a loss of communication to the engine. So what we're going to do is see if we can directly access the engine management ECU and see if we still have a loss of comms. So into the engine management ECU we go. And let's try to scan. And we've got our no communication. It wants to know that the key's on and the scan is connected, which it is. So yes, we've got no comms to the engine computer. So we need to ascertain as to why we're losing comms to the engine computer. So we need to build ourselves a test plan and then follow out that test plan and hopefully get to the root cause. So we're currently looking at our wiring diagram in the background. Like I say, we use E3 Technical for our technical data. We find it quite useful and good. So if you're in need of technical data, they are a pretty good system. We could vouch for that. So looking at a wiring diagram for the engine management system, which we'll ping up and show you on the screen in a bit. we have pulled off our powers and grounds and communication wires to the ECU. Now we're quite lucky on this vehicle that the ECU is quite accessible, and we'll show you that now. Our ECU is here under the bonnet, nice and easy to get to at the top. I've taken the liberty of removing the casing it sits in, because typically the way they put it with the casing, you can't get the plug off with it all bolted down, so we've taken the cover off. One thing that we needed to identify what multi-plug that we wanted to use, and we needed to plug B. So if we look at our list on here, I've written down basically the pin output, the pin numbers on the ECU, so they're all on plug B that we need, and what does what. So pin 86, for example, is a blue and green wire. It should have 12 volts directly from the battery, should be powered all the time. Pin 87, which is next to it, a black and white wire, is the ground control that energizes the main relay. We've got 3 red and yellow wires on B3, 5 and 6. They should go 12 volts off the main relay once the ignition is switched on. B1, 2 and 4, which are all brown wires. They are ground wires and they're grounded all the time. And then pins 13 and 14, we have our flex ray lines. So flex ray is just an upgraded version of CAN. It runs a lot faster. The bit rate is a lot faster than CAN. And it's the name that the company that sell flex ray have put to it. So CAN, it's just a name for that network and the way the communication algorithms that they use. So we've got a rough idea of where we're going to start looking, and then we're going to have a look at the plug and see what we got. So we've pulled, in order to get the cover off the back, we need the black plastic cover off the back in order to investigate which plug we need to get to. There is a little cable tie that sits on the back of the plug here, which is intact on this plug, but was actually broken off of this one. So somebody at some point has had that off, and it looks like they've had the cover off. Now, another interesting thing that we're going to look at is we've got some flex ray wires here. These are our comms wires here, and they've got tape around them and looks like heat shrink. So it looks like some form of wiring repair may have been carried out already. So we are going to be very interested in what's underneath that. But we're going to carry out our diagnosis, and we're going to keep to our test plan, and we're going to still check powers and grounds and see if we can see why we're losing comms. And remember, this is an intermittent issue, so we need to follow the steps and obviously do it whilst the vehicle's in a failed state. So let's get started. So we're currently all plugged in, proved that we're still in a failed state. We've got our multimeter hooked up so we can start checking powers and grounds. We are hooked up using our power probe line to the vehicle earth, so we know that we've got a good earth. So let's start off with pin 86, which should be 12 volts from the battery, and it's the blue and green wire that we're looking for. So let's start with the blue and green wire that we're looking for. Oh, hello, that's interesting. Which is the blue and green one. 91, 90, 89, 88, 87, 86. So we're losing that wire there. Should be 12 volts all the time. Aha, right, no connection. So as you can see there, we've got 11 volts going into that wire, the pin 86, which is our, as you can see on there, is a good one. So pin 86 is our blue and green wire, and we've got good comms, yeah, or good 12 volts. So we'll move on to our next one. We'll check the other powers and grounds and see what we've got, I think. So let's go back down to here. So we are looking at pins, these ones here. So we should have all the red and yellow wires, we should have 12 volts on. And get a good read on it. So interestingly, it looks like our 12 volt, what we should be getting 12 volts on our red and yellow wires, I'm actually making 0.3 of a volt. I don't know where we can see that, 0.3 of a volt currently. And that goes for all three. Make sure I'm getting in there good. All three wires. Yeah, 0.3 of a volt. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 0.4 of a volt. Good ground. Got good ground. So I've got 3 ground wires, all seem okay, but we're losing power for our main feeds to the engine module. So for whatever reason, the module's not being powered up from the main relay. So we need to find where that main relay is and check that. Right, so we're checking our powers and grounds or power supplies at our engine computer. And what we have noticed is that we're not getting power. The 3 power supplies that power the engine control module aren't getting power to them. So we broke the scope out, we've got the scope plugged in, and I've got 3 probes plugged in at the moment. 2 are into 2 of the power supplies that we should be getting voltage at, and the 3rd one is our ground side control for the main relay. So the 2 power supplies should be powered from the main engine relay, and the engine ECU activates that relay to allow power to get down to the engine computer to power various components on it. So we've got that on the scope right now, and we'll have a look at those and see what we've got. So what we've currently got on the screen, I've got 3 traces running, and I'll put a better picture on the screen in a sec. Is our blue trace at the top here. This is the ground side switch to our main engine relay, or it's the ground side switch from the engine ECU, measured at the ECU, that controls energizing the main control relay, okay? And that's currently set at battery voltage. Down here, our 2 at the bottom here, the yellow and the green, are our power supplies for the engine computer. So these should, once they are energized, so what's going to happen is this is going to go down to 0 because it's grounded, and these should ping up to battery voltage to show that they're energized. So let me switch on the ignition and then we'll see what changes. So as you can see, our blue wire is pulled down to nearly ground, 0.7 of a volt, but our 2 power supply wires haven't come up off of 0 volts, and the vehicle's got the it's beeping away. And if we go to our engine system and try and get into codes, it should come up with no comms. So we've got no comms still with the engine when we're in this failed state. So this is showing that the engine computer is sending a signal to the engine management relay, but our engine management relay isn't engaging for whatever reason, and sending our power supplies back up to the engine computer to switch all the various components on. So our next step in our test is we're going to see if we can identify where the main engine relay is and carry out some tests on the main engine relay. So looking on our technical data, we found that our main relay is actually located in the passenger footwell. Let's have a look and see if we can identify which one it is. So here we are, passenger footwell. Let's have a look. So we've got a fuse box, various plugs and modules and stuff, and our main relay is actually this one here. Okay, we've identified that one as the main relay, so let's have a play and see what we can get to fix it. So by looking at our main relay, and we'll show you on the screen, we can actually, by wiggling it and just wiggling it backwards and forwards, we can actually get our power supplies to come and go, and we'll show you that on the screen whilst I'm wiggling it. And you can hear it beeping and then not beeping. So as I wriggle it, various warnings are actually coming up on the dashboard. You can hopefully hear from the beeping in the background. So there's something bad in the connection at this relay, but let me show you on the scope, and you can see it come and go as I wiggle it. So let's hike this relay out. You can see it's obviously not right. And let's have a look at the relay itself. There we go. That's actually got a little locator tab on the end of it. Let's see if we can see anything within the terminals there that might be causing the problem. They don't look too bad. Might be splaying slightly. Could be wiring to the back of it. Let's have a look. See if we can get that out of there. Fortunately, it looks like it comes out that way, which makes it a little bit more awkward to get to. Let's close the pins up first and see if it's just a bad connection at the relay, and see if we can fix it that way. If not, we might need to delve a little bit deeper into why it's making such a bad connection. Right, so I've just had the relay out, and I've closed up the pins inside, or squished the pins together in the multi-plug, so it makes a better connection on the spade terminals coming off of the relay. And then we just need to check to see whether, now when we wiggle the relay, whether we get that same issue that obviously we could recreate at this point. So it's all about being able to recreate the problem, and then once you've fixed it, testing it to make sure that you fixed it. So we'll take another look at our scope and see if we've got any wiggly lines, or whether they're static and solid where they should be. Right, so that was me just wriggling the crap out of that relay as we did before, and before we could see that we had a good ground but poor voltage here. These were down here, and they were going up and down and up and down as I wiggled the relay. Now I'm wriggling the relay, these are staying static. So by now checking the engine management system, let's retry connecting to the engine. We've got comms with our engine management system. So we'll do a little bit more testing, but it looks like we've probably found the root cause of our problem, a bad connection at the main engine relay. So I'm glad that we've kind of narrowed it down to something specific and a proven fault. We'll do a little bit more testing now and make sure it's all right, and then I think we're happy. So we've rescanned the vehicle. We're clear of all the fault codes, and we've actually got now, unlike before, we've got our 30 control modules analysed, so we can see all the control modules on the vehicle, including the one that was missing, the engine management one. We'll continue to test, and hopefully in short time the customer can have their vehicle back. So the garage that brought it to us has spent a couple of hours on it, and then thought better of it, and yeah, that's why we have it. And yeah, that's good for them because it saves them time by they can get on with something more productive and making some money, and we got on with this and save them a bit of time and hassle. Yeah. So we've come back in, we've left the vehicle overnight and come back in to a no start situation. We've got the same issue as we had before. This is always why we test thoroughly before we give any vehicles back, to make sure that we've rectified the problem before the customer has it back. So we're in the right area. We're just a little bit. We just need to show you what we found. So this is our main relay, like we said. We're still having issues with this relay. We'd actually put this on a relay tester and it passed the test. There's got to be a loose connection. If we do this and give it a bit of a tap, we can get the vehicle to cut out. Now, we've moved this relay from, these are the same relays, and we've moved the relays from one position to the other, and we can follow the fault. This relay then creates faults on this circuit, and if we move this relay to here, the fault is gone. We've got another relay. We're going to replace the relay, and then we're going to carry on to retest. Again, it emphasises the importance of testing the fix as well as testing before, kind of thing, just to make sure that you've proven the fact. So with our new relay in, we can no longer replicate that no start issue. Again, we'll carry on testing, make sure we're happy with the repair, because last thing we want is this to go back to a customer and 5 minutes down the road they have trouble. But yeah, so far so good. So we've replaced the relay and we've tested it, and this just goes to show the importance of testing after the repair, just to prove that we fixed it, kind of thing, and being thorough, because the last thing any of us want is the vehicle to go back to the customer and they come back a day later with exactly the same problem. So testing after the event is just as important as testing before the event. We're happy that this is now thoroughly tested and it can go back to the customer. They'll be happy, we're happy. I hope you're happy and you've enjoyed this video. Again, if you like this video, please click the like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.